Nice to meet you.
Katie King walks into Dr. Thayer Juday's office determined. It's been 6.5 years since she was first diagnosed with ovarian cancer and nearly 2 years since it reoccurred.
How you doing?
Good.
They draw 4 vials of blood to monitor her body's response to the first round of a vaccine she received a month prior. A vaccine to treat her cancer.
They're just looking for circulating tumor cells to see what her levels are.
Katie is currently one of 3 patients participating in a basket trial designated for solid tumor cancers. The FDA defines a basket trial as a drug studied across multiple cancer populations, and Katie's only involved by happenstance.
We want to be able to sit around that table back there and decide what's best for cancer patients.
Riley Polk is the president of Orbis Health Solutions, the biotechnology company behind Katie's vaccine. In 2017, his 18-year-old daughter Carson and Katie were being treated at the same cancer facility. Orbis's founder, Dr. Tom Wagner, had spent the previous 2 decades developing cancer immunotherapies, specifically for melanoma, but they were getting ready to expand the study.
At the time, they were thinking we're going to get into ovarian cancer vaccines, and that's when we all went, please keep Katie in mind when you get to that point. And so now it's great that it's not just ovarian; it's any kind.
It's any solid tissue.
And he did keep Katie in mind.
How you feel?
I feel good.
You need anything?
No, and felt great after the first round. Didn't have any issues. I saw where you had done the injection site. There was just a tiny little red bump for a couple of days, and that went away.
Great.
And that was it.
And no fever or temperature, like about 14 days in?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's a very safe vaccine. I mean, it's created out of your tissue.
And with this vaccine, I get to get the vaccine and go home. Like, I get to be home, and there's nothing that changes in my daily routine.
You have nothing you can't do same day, next day. You can get back to life as normal.
Yep.
Wow.
This is an important change for Katie after undergoing low-dose chemotherapy, among other alternative therapies, during her initial diagnosis years ago, because Katie and her husband Jim are in the farming business. They run a pasture poultry operation, Fireside Farm, which years ago expanded to include grass-fed sheep and pasture piglets.
Are there hard days?
Yeah, absolutely. Hard days are more of that emotional side of things. And with this vaccine, there haven't been any hard days.
And it has been a difficult year.
We lost our son unexpectedly 6 months ago. So this year has been very difficult for us.
So they've leaned on faith.
That we can look back and see his faithfulness and knowing that in the midst of all our sadness and sorrow, he will carry us through. He will. And he is. And so as hard as it is, we're okay.
And felt the support from those closest to them.
Yeah, it's awe-inspiring. It really is. It's evidence that there's still, a lot to be thankful for and a lot to cling to.
Look at where we are 6 years later, and she could potentially be one of the ones who's involved in something that saves not just a few lives, but hundreds, thousands or more. I mean, that's the hope and the prayer.
Katie's appointment ends after an hour-long monitor period.
Thank you so much.
But her story is nowhere close to being over.
See you in a month.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think Katie is making history today. This is very, very promising.
We're making history. Yeah.
People used to ask me the question, when will there be a cure for cancer? And I've been doing this for 60 years. And I could never answer that question. I don't know. Until recently, until the last 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Dr. Tom Wagner founded Orbis Health Solutions in 2009 after moving to Greenville in the 90s with the goal of developing a cancer immunotherapy center.
The institute that we put together in Greenville years ago, 26 years ago, was specifically to activate the immune system to attack cancer, and nothing else.
Wagner, who got his first cancer grant in 1963, worked at Sloan Kettering Institute for years, but felt the whole approach to cancer treatment was wrong.
Those kids were, they're like,
An emotional Wagner remembers treating children dying with cancer using high-dose chemotherapy that was only making them sicker. So he set out to treat the disease more logically and compassionately.
Think about the oath that the physicians take. Do no harm. Do no harm. Chemotherapy is harm.
Wagner's research uses what he says is the body's best defense, our very own immune system.
Our immune system, when it looks at cancer by itself, it says, okay, these are a little different, but they're cells, so we're not going to attack them.
Wagner's challenge: make tumor cells look like a pathogen, a bad guy. Using his dog's wiffle ball, he shows us how.
So the idea we had was to load the inside of this shell with the molecules from the patient's cancer cell. So that when the cell, when this antigen presenting cell looked at it, it would see pathogen, it would change itself to this IL-12 profile, and it would now take this to the lymph node and say, this is a pathogen, and go kill it, as opposed to tolerize it when it doesn't see this shell.
Wagner describes the process: bursting cancer cells open and looking for the mutated molecules before freezing them inside the microscopic wiffle ball, the Trojan horse, he calls it.
When cancer is in the body can't tell the difference, but you have unlocked, you've put cancer in a vehicle that's identified it as a bad guy.
Exactly. And that's all there is to it.
The vaccine, it's not like chemotherapy where I could get the same chemotherapy you get. I'm not getting the same vaccine that you're getting.
And that's because your cancer is not the same.
So you're not just hoping that, oh, I hope this works for me. It's built for you.
It's more personalized medicine, but cancer is a personalized disease. You can't treat a personalized disease with a generic medicine.
So patients are treated individually, taking samples from their tumors to make the vaccine. Riley Polk, the president of Orbis, is a believer.
Our therapy is not something Tom dreamed up in the last 6 months. He's been working on it for 25 years.
He's been with the company for 12 years, around the time his dad was diagnosed with cancer. After several surgeries in his lungs, the surgeons told Polk to take his dad home and get his affairs in order. Instead, the family opted to use a piece of his dad's tissue and vaccinate him.
He died, I got goosebumps, he died 2 years ago. 10 years later, it did not have anything to do with cancer. You can tell me a lot of things, you can't tell me it doesn't work.
Polk works on the business side of getting a drug approved, an arduous, expensive process, he says.
We've taken our vaccine through a large phase 2B trial. It's ready for what's called a registrational trial for phase 3, but it's a $100 million project.
Polk says they hope to start phase 3, a 3-year trial, this year with around 500 people.
This is the way medicine should be. It should make you feel better, not worse.
Wagner, who never failed to produce a vaccine for more than 300 patients in a previous melanoma trial, says curing cancer is no longer a matter of science.
Early detection and immunotherapy will be the cure for cancer. I'm convinced of that.
My doctors called me and I was like, oh, this is really bad, isn't it? This is not good. And both of them said to me, I'll never forget this either, you just enjoy Christmas.
How did you feel when you heard that?
That was, I guess that was the first time that I thought, okay, I might not be there to see my son get married, or because I'm a very positive person, and that was like the cold water in the face.
By Christmas 2001, Mary Carol Abercrombie's year-long cycle of alpha interferon ended.
The side effects were horrendous. It was hell, actually.
She'd had melanoma for a year, and it was about to get worse.
As soon as I got off of it, my cancer metastasized. And that I found out about it 2 days before Christmas.
Her doctors told her she only had months left.
You, according to doctors, had 3 to 6 months to live at Christmas of 01 and Christmas of 23
Right.
just passed.
Right.
How do you put that into words?
Oh, well, you see, I get emotional. I can't.
She can't, so we will. Her oncology surgeon at the time was working on a melanoma trial vaccine. The doctor he was working with, Tom Wagner.
And I went in to see him, and I'll never forget. He had a picture of Einstein over his desk. And I thought, oh no, I'm way in out of my league. And what he told me was he hadn't had anybody survive yet, but the people that he'd had under his trial, they had lived longer and they'd lived without many side effects. And I was like, sign me up, because there wasn't anything out there.
Mary Carroll was patient number 3. She got a shot every other month for a year and a half. Suddenly, her terminal timeline transformed.
With Dr. Wagner's vaccine, I was just able to go and do, just tired, that was it.
And 20 years later, no reoccurrences.
Do you feel lucky to be?
Oh, lucky, blessed, humbled.
She was able to attend her son's wedding.
See my daughter-in-law. They didn't think I'd be there for that. These are the twins.
And watch her 4 grandchildren grow up.
I'm called Mary Carroll, MC, and Big is definitely my favorite name.
And her message to Katie King, one of Wagner's current trial patients.
Oh, wow. I'm so excited for her. I'm so excited that she found Dr. Wagner. I would tell her to just keep on keeping on. Just get up each morning and just look at the glory of the day and go out and do. And you're going to beat this. You're going to beat it. Good Lord's with you. You're going to beat it.
So 22 Christmases after she was given 3 to 6 months, a grateful patient.
And I'm still here, which is very humbling, to say the least.
Still exchanges Christmas cards with the man who changed her life.
There's so much hope out there, and I do think that people like Dr. Wagner, that there is going to be a cure for cancer with early detection and with immunotherapy.